Well, good evening, everyone. This is Mike Bass back again with another forecast update for you for this August 28, 2023. I'm hoping everybody's having a great Monday out there so far. Everybody has a great Monday evening. Hope everybody continues to stay safe and well and also enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about your forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. Also, we're going to take a look at Tropical Storm Idalia. Also, we're going to take a look at the Watches Warning Advisory map. Also, take a look at the Storm Prediction Center overview and the storm report that came in today. And also, we're going to take a look at Hurricane Franklin, which is a major hurricane, at the end of this video. So, stick around to the entire video. Do not miss a beat of this forecast. And if you're a new viewer, go ahead and smash that subscribe button for me today. Love to have you. Like these videos and share these videos and consider subscribing once again if you have not. Also, let's go ahead and get the show on the road there, folks, and well, we're going to dive on into your forecast now. Alright, as you can see here, we got quiet conditions from Quebec, Canada through southern Canada back into portions of southwestern southwestern Canada, that is, excuse me. Also, dry conditions expected over portions of Wisconsin, also in northern Michigan, through Minnesota, back over to port of Montana, back over towards southern Oregon, through San Francisco, through Los Angeles, Gulf of California, southern Mexico, also we're back up toward Denver, Colorado, through portions of Texas, around the Dallas and Houston area. Also, dry conditions expected over portions of Mississippi, Louisiana, all the way back up in Ohio as well. Also through Missouri and Iowa and Minnesota. Alright, we got showers and thunderstorms expected over portions of southern Canada, right along the Canadian border with portions of Washington State, and also portions of Montana, around the Vancouver area and Seattle, Washington, portion of Oregon, Idaho as well. Excuse me. Also, we got showers and storms down in portions of Colorado, down through Mexico, New Mexico, southeastern Arizona, northern Mexico as well. Also, showers and storms down there from Houston, just east of Houston, all the way over toward the Gulf Coast region. Also around the Panhandle, Florida, down to the Florida Keys, down to Miami, Florida, through the towards Atlanta, Georgia, through the Carolinas, over to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Boston, New York areas, and also up toward Maine as well, and also into Montreal, Toronto, Canada, and back over toward Chicago as well, and up toward Illinois, and also into Michigan. All right, here's Franklin off the southeast coast, continue to push on off to the north and east. Excuse me. Also, we got this is will become Hurricane Idalia by tomorrow down in the Gulf of Mexico. We got severe weather in the yellow slashed area, the red slashed area. We got some flash flooding, heavy rain there in portion of Florida and southern Georgia. Also up here in portion of Georgia and also through the Carolinas as well for your Tuesday. But this is associated with a cold front boundary just stalled out across the Carolinas. The heavy rain and severe weather will be associated with you guys from Hurricane Idalia. Alright, now here's your Wednesday forecast. We got quiet conditions from Quebec, Canada, through Montreal, Toronto, Canada, also through Port of New York State, through Pennsylvania, through Kentucky, Tennessee, back down to the Dallas and Houston area. Also in the port of northern Mexico, through Texas, New Mexico, back over to Los Angeles and San Francisco, but up toward Oregon and Washington State, also toward Montana, back into Minnesota, across southern Canada, portions of southwestern Canada as well. Showers and storms down in the port of Mexico and Arizona, New Mexico as well, and also into New Mexico up toward just south of Denver, Colorado. Also here in portions of Oregon, Washington State, around the Vancouver, Canada area, and also Seattle, Washington vicinity. Also in the port of Montana, and also in the North Dakota, and in southern Canada as well. Alright, we got showers and storms from the Florida Keys, all the way through Florida, back over toward Louisiana, through the Atlanta metro area, through Columbia, South Carolina, to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Maine, New Hampshire, on up into southeast Canada as well. There's Hurricane Franklin just north of Bermuda, continue to race on out to the sea. Here is Hurricane Idalia, which will become a tropical storm by then, unless it hangs off the coast. Could remain a hurricane. Red slashed area, flash flooding, heavy rain possible from port of Florida through the Carolinas. Also the yellow slashed area right along the Carolina coastal area down into Florida. So severe weather with some tornadic activity and maybe some damaging winds from Hurricane Idalia. Alright, this is for your Wednesday. Alright, Idalia Currently, still getting this act together. Still got some moisture, getting some deep convection over the center portion of the storm. Looking a lot better. Also got some convection moving across Cuba and also into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. All right, let's move on to some information from the National Hurricane Center. All righty. It finally came up. Good, good, good. All right. Here's the tropical storm force winds, pretty much to around the center, and most of it to the east, north, western Caribbean Sea Island. Still got that hurricane warning effect for Cuba. Still got a tropical storm warning effect for the Yucatan Peninsula. We got tropical storm warnings in effect from South Florida up to the hurricane warning area in the red. That goes all the way over to portions of the panhandle of Florida. This was a 4 p.m. advisory. See, it still got a major hurricane approaching land. Hurricane over northern Florida, moving into southern Georgia, South Carolina, right across southern South Carolina. The yellow areas here, this is tropical storm watches. Tropical storm warnings will be in effect later on. I would not be surprised for southeast Georgia, maybe southern South Carolina later tonight or tomorrow morning. Some inland counties may be under a hurricane warning or maybe a watch. Also, maybe even ports of South Carolina could be under tropical storm watches and warnings for portions of the eastern Carolinas. Maybe from Aiken County through Columbia, South Carolina, maybe up toward Chesterfield, South Carolina, and points east. Would not be surprised to see a tropical storm watch issued for some inland counties, as well as the storm continues to push on off into our direction. All right, by 1 p.m. Saturday, looks to be a tropical storm just northwest of Bermuda. All right, if you're tracking this storm at home, it's located near latitude 21.4 north, longitude 85.1 west. Still has maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, and the movement is to the north at 8 miles per hour. Right now, it's classified as a tropical storm with winds of 39 to 73 miles per hour. All right. Take a look at the hurricane models. They changed just a little bit from earlier this afternoon. On target. Here's the center of the storm. Pretty well compacted here all the way to Florida. They kind of space out a little bit here as you get into Georgia, into the Carolinas. I looked at a couple models, runs. One of the hurricane models keeps it in central South Carolina. The GFS kind of keeps it coming into up towards the Orangeburg area. The European still keeps it right along the coastal areas. I looked at the NAM model. That ran up into portion of southern South Carolina with the system. I looked at the let's see, Canadian model. it showed it coming in about the same place as the NAM model coming into southern South Carolina, and kind of just moving right along right near the coastal areas about where the Hurricane Center got it. This thing's still a fair game. The track can still shift back to the west, or it can shift to the east, either direction. We're still going to have impacts in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida from Idalia. All right, take a look at the intensity guidance. The storm here, as you can see, got 60 knot winds equal to 70 miles per hour. We'll be in a Category 1 hurricane very soon with most of the models. Some of the models takes up Category 3. That's why the National Hurricane Center has it up to a 3. But it could, I would not be surprised, it could reach Category 4. Depends on how much, if the system slows down just a little bit, it would have more time over the Gulf waters where it's real hot. The waters are really, really hot, and that could intensify the storm into a Category 4 storm and head for the Big Bend region or Florida. As you can see, it drops off pretty dramatically about 60 hours, 48 to 60 hours back to a tropical storm because it should move in over land and it should weaken it down some, but if it stays in the coastal waters, it could remain a tropical storm through its whole life cycle through 168 hours. In an advisory map, that was your one segment of your tropical weather update. The other update coming up with Franklin at the end of this broadcast cycle. Alright, as you can see here, we got a lot of air quality alerts extending from Minnesota through Nebraska down in the ports of Texas, also into Montana and also into Oregon as well. We got some wind advisories up here in ports of Montana, Oregon, and also ports in Washington State. Red flag warnings also in effect for you guys in Idaho and portions of Oregon State as well. Got some fire weather watches for ports of Wyoming. We got some red flag warnings. Not red flag warnings, excuse me. Flash flood warnings, flood watches, flooded warnings in effect for portions of New Mexico and also into central Texas. Heat advisories for you guys here in portions of California. Sets of heat warnings also there as well for portions of Southern California and much of Arizona as well. Red flag fire weather watches. I can't get it out. Fire weather watches for Northern California. We still got heat advisories also in effect for Texas all the way over to Alabama and also southern Mississippi and much of Louisiana's southern side anyway that is. Sets of heat warning there in effect for you guys in southeast Texas. Flood advisories over portions of Texas there as well. Also got flood advisories also for you guys here and flood warnings in effect for Alabama up into Tennessee and also North Georgia. Also again over here in portions of North Carolina and also into Virginia, flood warning in effect there as well. Flood advisory for northeastern Virginia. Coastal flood advisory for portions of the Philadelphia region there as well. Hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings in the tropical Atlantic off the southeast coast. Tropical storm watches have been posted for the South Carolina coast, all the way down to the east coast of Florida, also down across southern Florida as well, and also through portions of eastern Florida also. We have tropical storm warnings inland there on also in effect for you guys in central Florida, southern Florida, central Florida. And also up here, we've got some hurricane warnings in effect on coastal areas, a few counties inland. And also we have a hurricane watch, which is in effect for northern portions of you guys here in northern Florida and southern Georgia. We have tropical storm watches also in going there. Hurricanes, local hurricane statements for Georgia, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, and southern Florida as well. All right. Like I said, we got tropical storm warning, hurricane warnings for the coastal waters of the Atlantic waters for Hurricane Franklin. Also, tropical storm warning for coastal areas, South Carolina coast. Also down into hurricane warnings in effect for the coastal waters in the Gulf of Mexico as well. Still got those flood watches in effect for northern and southern portions of Alaska. Wind advisory there as well. Special weather statements, that is, excuse me. Hawaii and Chain Island looks A-OK. Storm prediction center time. Here we go, folks. As you can see here, Here's that marginal risk extending from Louisiana to the Carolinas. Got scattered about. Moving it off of Idalia, moving up from the south to the north. Scattered activity over Florida, Cuba, and scattered activity over Texas. Also back into Arizona, New Mexico. Also into Nevada, and a little bit into portions of Washington State. Convective outlook, general thunderstorm in lighter green. There's that marginal risk. Watches, none in effect. MDS discussion, none in effect. Storm report, currently as of this recording, we had 8 high wind reports, 0 tornado reports, 0 large hail reports. Generally, they took place in Alabama and Georgia for damaging winds in that region. All right, fire, elevated risk over portions of Texas and Oklahoma as well. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with Hurricane Franklin, major Hurricane Franklin that is. All right, here is the 5 p.m. Track and also the information on it as well. There's the tropical storm force winds around it, hurricane forces around the X there. Major hurricane expected all the way through 2 a.m. Thursday morning, then back down to a Category 2 hurricane by 2 p.m. and then kind of back to a post-tropical hurricane and storm by Friday and Saturday. All right, if you're tracking major hurricane Franklin, this is a location of it currently as of 5 p.m. Located near latitude 28.5 north, longitude 71.0 west. Maximum sustained winds at 145 miles an hour with higher gusts, and movement is to the north at 9 miles per hour. And would not be surprised, maybe it could make it up to 150 as well later on down the road. Also, we have a tropical storm watch in effect for Bermuda. So you guys in Bermuda may get some tropical storm conditions out of major hurricane Franklin. As I've been saying in all videos, you guys in Bermuda better watch out because it could affect you as well. Alright, well I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Everybody continue to stay safe and well. Also enjoy the weather because it's the only weather you got. Like these videos, share these videos, consider subscribing if you have not. Stay safe out there, folks. It's going to get a bump. It's going to be a bumpy next few days to come. So get ready. Here it comes, folks. Here's our first major hurricane of the season to affect the United States. And we'll have to see if there's any more later on down the road. But we're going to get through these storms first before we start looking later on down the road. So let's continue to stay positive, stay safe, and we'll catch you back in the next video. So have a great, great Monday evening.